Libraries are the soul of a community. They're the intellectual heart of a community. And one of the things that I think is important to talk about when people come into the library and they're seeking tech help, or they come into the library and they're seeking resources for finding out more about figuring out how to live in this kind of wild, technologically enabled world that we live in, is I think it's really important to have a lot of background knowledge about AI and data, and also have like a couple of ways of talking about artificial intelligence and talking about data. Because AI is something that is intimidating for a lot of people. We do talk a lot about AI nowadays, but when you really drill down, it's surprising that people are a little intimidated and also kind of confused about what AI is and what AI isn't. So here's where I'd like to start. I like to start with what AI is not. So everything up on the screen right now, this is not AI. AI is not the Terminator. It's not Ex Machina. It's not stock art robot guy. It's not something from Star Trek or Star Wars. All of these Hollywood things are fantastic, but they're totally imaginary. What's real about AI is that AI is math. Specifically, artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science, same way that algebra is a branch of mathematics. And so inside artificial intelligence, there are lots of other subfields. There's natural language processing, there's natural language generation, there's neural nets, there's deep learning, there's machine learning, there's all kinds of subfields. So we've got imaginary AI on the one hand, and then we've got real AI on the other hand. It's called general AI and narrow AI. Inside the actual field, the narrow AI field that exists, there is a subfield called machine learning, which again is really confusing because it sounds like there's a little brain inside the computer. But machine learning is just math. But this linguistic confusion happens where when people say, oh, I'm using AI for business, or, oh, how can we use AI to improve our outreach to patrons? What they mean usually is, how can we use machine learning to do that? And machine learning is computational statistics. It's computational statistics on steroids. So it sounds like a brain in the computer. It's really not. It's just math. It's very, very complicated and beautiful math, but it's just math. So when we ground the discussion about AI in the fact that it's real, it's mathematical, it's not about robots taking over the world, even though that is awesome, it demystifies AI for people. It grounds the conversation in something that they can understand, and then we can go on to having a conversation about real possibilities, as opposed to talking about the Hollywood stuff. Now, we should talk about the Hollywood stuff because it's an awful lot of fun. But when we're making business decisions, or when we're making decisions about what's going to happen in the real world, we need to do that based on what's real about AI.